It's that time again where we'll be going over the Teamfight Tactics patch notes. This time it's patch 10.14, and there are a ton of changes here. Pretty much the meta is going to be flipped on its head, so let's just get right into it. Pretty much everything that was strong was getting nerfed, and everything that was weak is getting buffed. So let's just see how exactly they're going to do that. So first off, they're going to make a few system changes. Nico boxes often punish your economy when you get a Nico's help from a blue or gold box. I completely agree. So now they're adding a reward to those boxes. So now, instead of getting only Nico, you get Nico plus 2 coins. And in a gold box, instead of getting 3 coins, you get 5 coins. I always hated getting Nikos early. Obviously, you're able to plan around it, but they must have looked at the win rate of people who got Nikos from early boxes, and they probably are a lot lower than everyone else's. Granted, late game Nikos is the best thing to ever drop, so it's a give and take. Ties, now this is a big change. Your final position in the standings used to be determined by whoever died first. Now it's decided by whoever has the least negative health total after that round, and if that health total is tied, the most health prior to the round elimination is used as the first tiebreaker, and then after that, it is random. I don't know why they made the last one random. They could have made this whoever died first, for example, but I guess they really wanted to move away from that. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this. Like, shouldn't this last tiebreaker, even though it's extremely rare, shouldn't it be whoever died first? But whatever. This is a good change overall because whenever you have like 3 HP versus a guy with like 10 HP and then the guy with 10 HP dies first, it feels wrong that he gets a lower place than the 3 health guy, right? So overall, this change is probably good. Galaxies, there's a new galaxy which is called the Dwarf Planet, and the last row and first row of every board is disabled. This is a pretty big galaxy. We haven't seen something like this before. Except for set 1 where we had 3 rows on each of the boards. But I'm glad they're bringing it back. We'll see how it plays out. And I'm assuming, like, obviously items like rapid fire cannon get a little worse. People are going to be in range much faster, so maybe area of effect abilities get a little stronger. I expect Gangplank to do a little better, or people with similar abilities to Gangplank. Removed is Little Legends Galaxy, or Little Legends Galaxy. A lot of people hated this. I didn't really like it either. It was pretty much a high roll galaxy similar to Nicoverse. It's pretty much whoever wins the early game wins the game, whereas Nicoverse is whoever hits their forecast first wins the game. So obviously I'm speaking in generalities. This isn't always the case, but a lot of people hated this one. The only thing that was fun about this was using the little legends to run around the map because they go so fast. But who really cares about that? We're here to try to play the game, not run around with little legends. So trait changes, Star Guardians, ton of changes here. So from what I heard, they're reducing the mana share of the Star Guardian trait, but they're making all the individual units stronger. So someone did an analysis on this. So to sum it up, your Star Guardians with the Star Guardian trait will cast less, but with blue buff, they'll cast slightly more. So if you look at SYNDRA's starting mana, she's now 40 starting mana, or 40 total mana, meaning that blue buff replenishes half the mana for that. It's going to be completely broken on her. I'm noticing no Ahri changes, so you always want to stack the Star Guardian with the least amount of mana. Ahri had 60 mana and SYNDRA had 60 mana, but now it's going down to 40, so she's going to be your blue buff holder, and she's just going to be your engine to pretty much propel all your Star Guardians in each of your games. I suspect that this comp is going to be pretty strong because, again, going down to 40 mana with a blue buff, it's just completely broken. You guys know how often Ziggs casts with blue buff, and Ziggs also has 40 mana, so imagine a SYNDRA with a Star Guardian trait. She's just going to be accelerating your entire team. So I'm excited that this comp's coming back, or at least I suspect it'll come back because I loved it playing this composition. So other trait changes is Celestial Healing is increased at all stages. And 6 Celestial, I know this is a lot, 150%, but you have to keep in mind that there are only 5 Celestial units, so you need the Celestial Spatula to get up to 150. Cybernetic trait is also changed. I'm assuming it's a nerf, yeah, so 50 health and 5 damage at 3 Cybernetic, and 50 health and 5 damage at 6 Cybernetic. So not too big of a nerf. It's like a little less than 10% in terms of attack damage at 6 Cybernetic, and a little less than 10% in their health as well. So it's not too major. Vayne's still going to be really good, especially since I know Aurelia is getting buffed. We'll get into that later. Cybernetic power level probably is around the same. So, well, depending on how badly Vayne got nerfed, but we'll check in that later. Sorceress spell power changes. It got nerfed at 4 and 6 sorcerers by quite a considerable amount at 4 sorcerer, so their mid game is going to be a little weaker. 6 sorcerer, I don't think this affects that much because Riven's still going to shield a lot, but we'll see how big the Riven changes are. So champion balance, Jarvan buffed with health, attack damage, and mana. Jarvan's always been the worst 1-cost unit, so this makes complete sense. Xayah attack speed buffed. Wow, I'm scared because there's a Caitlyn build going around right now where you get 3-star Caitlyn and sometimes 3-star Jarvan with a bunch of chrono units, and they just buffed that. So maybe that's going to be one of the new comps coming into this patch. So tier 2 champions, Mordekaiser health increased. His indestructible damage is also increased. Makes sense. Mordekaiser's the worst Vanguard unit. He's also not the best Darkstar either, so this makes complete sense. Rakan health increased, and Yasuo total mana decreased. So buffs to Rakan and Yasuo. I'm not too sure what to think about these. I mean, Rakan's always been super strong, so it's weird how they don't buff Xin Zhao instead of Rakan. And I don't mean Rakan's super strong, but in terms of protectors, he's always been the best one because he's got an area of effect crowd control, so anyone with that is always going to be very useful. So onto the tier 3 champions. Ashe, oh, they're buffing all the celestial units as well. So Ashe health increase, attack speed increase, damage increase from the arrow, and the stun duration is now scaling. Ezreal nerfed, so he has, oh wow, this is a huge change. So who cares about Ezreal attack damage? No one plays Ezreal for the damage, but his starting mana is now nerfed. This means you can't put 2 tier items on Ezreal for him to instantly cast, which was a big kind of tech if you get a bunch of tiers when you're going blasters, because getting this cast instantly off means that the enemy team, since they're mainly grouped up together in the beginning of the fights, just can't cast spells for 40% more time. Because that's pretty much what his ability does. It increases mana cost by 40%. So next up we have the Karma Inspire Shield, and this got buffed, and Karma attack speed also buffed. Yeah, Karma, she's always in auto cell, so no one really plays her, right? Because there isn't really that strong of an attack damage carry, so playing Karma just really wasn't necessary because there are no Celestials, or sorry, no Mystics that complement any of the attack damage comps except for Karma, so you can't really just throw Karma in randomly to buff your attack damage carry. So Nico buffed health, armor, yeah, so this is another Star Guardian buff. Shaco, total mana decreased. That makes sense, he's the weakest infiltrator. SYNDRA, unleash power. Wow, I'm scared. They buffed SYNDRA twice. Like, the mana change is huge. That's like she got a 33% buff in terms of mana. And then now she's getting a damage buff on top of that. And she's already pretty decent, so that's a lot of buffs. I don't know why they got to buff something like 10 different ways when it wasn't really that weak to begin with. Okay, whatever. Vayne health decreased by 50, and Vayne attack damage decreased by 50. This is quite a big change because this is a little less than 20% nerf. So that's, if you add on the cybernetic nerf as well, she's losing 15 attack damage, which is pretty big, right? Vi assault and battery damage is now decreased. Yeah, Vi was pretty strong. She's probably the most versatile brawler and cybernetic because she fits in both the brawler blaster comps and the cybernetic build, so she was always highly contested. So it makes sense that Vi's getting nerfed just because her traits were really good in last meta. So now onto the tier 4 champions. Fizz, Chum the Water damage now decreased. Completely understandable. Fizz is completely broken. He fits in every comp right now, and yeah, he needs a nerf. Aurelia buffed both attack damage, health, armor, and magic resistance, and blade surge. Again, like, you probably don't need to buff someone in 5 different ways. Considering these are big buffs, she's getting double the magic resist, like 30% more armor, and was this like 20 or 25% more attack damage? Probably 20% more attack damage. That's a lot. Like, all across the board, she's getting huge changes. That's crazy. She was already pretty good last meta, or sorry, like a couple patches ago, but she's only really not used because Vayne is broken. So since she was already in an okay spot, this doesn't really make sense to me. Okay, whatever. Let's play Aurelia. Cybernetics are still good. You could probably just trade between either Vayne or Aurelia, depending on who you hit. So Jhin, attack damage buffed, attack speed buff, and his 4-star damage is now buffed at levels 1 and 2, so he's going to be really strong again. I don't know why they didn't buff him before, because, again, 2 patches ago, Astro Sniper was kind of falling out of favor already, and then they nerfed Teemo, so they really kind of killed the comp for last patch, but I'm glad they're doing the Jhin buffs. I wonder if he's actually going to be good, though. He might just be good because Jinx and stuff is getting nerfed, as we see here, but this isn't that big of a nerf, but we'll see. Riven Shield is now nerfed at levels 1 and 2 by not too big of an amount. I'm really glad they didn't kill the Riven comp, because since Syndra's getting stronger, since a bunch of the other Star Guardians are getting stronger, Riven should be around, like, the comp as a whole should be around the same level, even with the Sorcerer nerfs, because this isn't a big nerf at all. Riven Shield is less by 25 now. So with the Syndra buffs, with all the other Sorcerer buffs, this comp should remain the same power level, so I'm probably going to be playing this a bunch. Victor Death Ray. Oh, wait, never mind. We're not done yet, because Victor is being nerfed, and Victor was a huge part of that composition, and he got like a 20% nerf at level 2, so for his second part of his damage. So even though it's 20% of the second part, the first part's unaffected, so maybe it's not as bad. Maybe it's like a 10% nerf instead of a 20% nerf here. Yeah, the comp still should be decent, right? I mean, Riven's just so strong. She one-shots people in the back still. Her damage is untouched. Only her shield changed. I guess the Sorc buff got nerfed by 5 ability power, so maybe that affects it a little bit. But I still think the comp will be at least playable. If not, like, probably, like, it won't be, like, S tier or S plus tier, but maybe, like, mid A tier, maybe high A tier. We'll see. Aurelion Soul managing. Oh, finally. Aurelion Soul is a unit that you just play no matter what in any comp. So his mana drain's being reduced by 5 mana at level 1 and 10 mana at level 2, and his damage is being decreased by 20 at level 1 and unchanged at level 2. I like this. They're not completely killing Aesop. He's still going to be very strong because mana drain mechanic is just completely broken, and the level 2 damage is unchanged. So Aurelion Soul's still going to be really good. Is he going to be auto-played in every single composition? Probably still, I'd say, because even though the mana change is pretty big, like at level 2 he's getting nerfed by like, what, 40%? The damage is still the same, and Aesol does a lot of damage over time, so I still think Aesol's going to be super, super strong. Janna attack speed bonus is now being decreased at levels 1 and 2. I didn't really think Janna was that broken. I think the comp she fits in are pretty broken, because she works really well with the Riven comp, but no one really plays her outside of that. So, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. I think you could have just not changed Janna and the game would have been the same. She's so hard to hit anyways. So Urgot's getting a lot of changes. Let's see what they did. Armor increased, magic resist increased, attack range decreased, and mana is now increased. So instead of being 40 out of 90, it's now 50 out of 100. This is a nerf because then the second cast takes longer to get to. Fear beyond death targeting now changes from the furthest within attack range to the farthest. So you no longer need to build rapid fire cannon on him. Fear beyond death now hits the first enemy it collides with instead of always hitting its intended target. Okay, so it works like Caitlyn ultimate. So Caitlyn targets the furthest enemy away and then it hits whoever is in the projectile range. So that's how Urgot's ultimate will work now. Damage is now preventable. That is, a unit with Guardian Angel will now revive. This makes complete sense. And mana reduction per cast is now being increased to 20 and 30 mana. So I guess that negates this starting mana change there. Time to reel in the enemy now scales with star level, and this is now 3 seconds to 2 seconds to 1 second. So I really wonder, like, why does this still work through Quicksilver Sash? Because it CCs the unit, but Quicksilver Sash prevents CCs. So I don't know. Urgot's still going to feel a little weird, but I like how they made him more tanky and made him more shorter range, because having him long range doesn't really make sense. And I like that the targeting is now like he just shoots a projectile and it hits whoever it hits, because, yeah, I feel like that's more in line of how it works in League of Legends. So Now for the items, Giant Slayer now does pre-mitigation damage that matches its damage type. Are they removing the true damage component? They don't really talk about that here. But Ionic, if you guys know the answer to this, let me know in the comments below. So Ionic Spark, Magic Resistance Shred, 50% to 40%. It's still going to be a fantastic item because you mainly build Ionic Spark for the other passive it has, which is dealing, I think, 225% magic damage based on how much mana the enemy spends per spell. That's really why people build it. People don't really build it because of the magic resist shred, though it is very strong. We won't go over bug fixes, or actually let's do them. Echo Slow is now displayed as a percentage instead of a decimal on its tooltip. Champions pulled by Thresh. Temporal Passage can no longer be used to star up other units. I didn't know this was a thing. Vayne's bonus damage attacks during final hour can now properly proc Blade Master. So this is a slight buff if you build a Blade Master item on her. It's a great item on her. It just doesn't happen that often. Lulu polymorph units will no longer hop around while stunned, and fix an issue where Shaco could occasionally not receive Dark Star stacks if stealth when an ally would die. Interesting. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't play Shaco, so I never realized this. Aurelion Soul can no longer cast while being reeled in by Urgot. That makes complete sense. So, alright, that's pretty much all the changes. I think, like, Riven comp should still be strong. Cybernetics should still be strong. Jinx only got nerfed very slightly, so the only nerf to the Brawler Blaster comp was Jinx, Vi, and Aurelion Soul, but they weren't that big of nerfs. I'm kind of scared about this SYNDRA because, again, her mana cost got reduced by 50%, or sorry, yeah, 50%, and then, like, so it went from 60 to 40, right? So I guess that's 33%, but with blue buff just replenishes half her mana, so that's probably going to be really strong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Little Legends, as fun as it was to run around, I'm glad it's gone because the whole concept of like whoever wins the early game based off of like not rolling, based off of like whoever hits their 2 stars was kind of ridiculous. I'm interested to see how we play with Dwarf Planet because we haven't seen that in a long time. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this patch. I'll let you guys know what comps are strong on Friday as usual, and apart from that, if you guys are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe if you guys like this content. That way, when I release the meta snapshot or tier list, you'll be notified right away, so you'll be able to climb that much faster than other players. But other than that, I'll see you guys later.